Hello everyone, my name is Kenny Cormandy from the Airgun channel My Airgun Reviews, and today we're going to start the process of super tuning this Ruger Silent Hawk 177 caliber. Now this process is going to apply for Ruger Silent Hawk, the Ruger Airhawk, the Ruger Airhawk Elite, the Ruger Blackhawk Elite, the Umarex Surge, the Ruger Targus Hunter, the Umarex Torque. All of those guns have the same power plant. What is inside right here, it's the same in all of those guns. So this will apply to all of those pellet rifles. The reason we are going to super tune it, I did take it apart and put a new piston seal in it because the old piston seal was kind of chewed up and the piston was real sloppy. So we'll get into that a little bit later. So I have modified a bar clamp for compressing the spring on this gun. This is just a typical bar clamp. You can pick them up at any hardware store, or just you can buy these pieces and the pipe for whatever length you need. I think this one is 34 inch, and I think ideally about a 38 inch would be just about perfect for most air guns. 42 at the absolute longest, if that's going to be your primary use. And I have modified it a little bit. This part goes right back here, and your safety must remain inside the gun. You can't pull that out or you won't get your trigger to work. And so what I've done is I have ground this down to bring it the center of the clamp up closer to the backside here, and that should work fairly well. So let's get started. Okay, for starters, we'll remove the scope. This gun is very easy to do. And then our next, we're going to remove the stock. These are coming out nice and snug because I do have blue thread locker on them. I just love the wood grain on this Ruger Silent Hawk stock. It's beautiful wood grain, beautiful finish. I think I actually pulled the wrong screw out. And this one is the front one, not the rear. Yep. One thing I really want to emphasize on the Umarex is you've got these pins that slide back and forth, and so these are pretty snug on this one, but we're still going to put a piece of masking tape around this to keep these pins from popping out. Okay. Tape on just like that, and that way we're assured that those pins are going to stay put. Okay, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to pull this black cap off the back. Get that end right here up against the front of the barrel. And we're going to press in to relieve pressure. And I've got to have these pins exposed. You can see here. Just should be able to just push those through. Draw them out the bottom. The reason I ground off this edge is that way it puts the center of the bar clamp closer in, because you've got to leave this safety in here. So we've now removed that, and we just back the bar clamp off. There we go. Our trigger assembly is out. Pull out our mainspring, and this is our spring guide. Set that aside. Now we have to measure our spring. First thing we're going to do is count coils. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to call that 28 coils. Turn on our caliper here, and we are set to inches. Our outside diameter appears to be 0.825 inches. Now we're going to measure the thickness of the wire. We got 0.14 inches. We'll write this all down. 28 coils. And so now we're ready to call up Vortec products and order our new spring. Okay, we are on the Vortec products website. This is their home page. They've got tune kits, airgun seals, muzzle brakes, seals, adapters, tuning parts, springs. We want springs. And now, let's see, springs for air guns, they got 14. Okay. 113 wire, 118 wire, 120, 122, 128 wire. This is the, I told you we had a 0.825 inch outside diameter. Now this is 128 wire with a 0.825 outside diameter. This is what we want. It's the proper size for that one. Okay, and it comes with 40 coils. I counted 28. I want to increase the tension on it, so I ordered the spring with 29 coils. We're going to click add to cart, one in there. Now I'm going to go back to our main page. Air gun seals right here, 19 of them. Okay. Diana Pro Seal 28M. That is the 28 millimeter seal that fits the Edina. So you want to click add that to cart. Now you got 2 items in your cart. And then you go to checkout, and you can either register for new, or if you've already been there, make an account. And as you go through the process of your checking out, when you get towards the end, there's going to be a comments box, underneath your order, you're going to put in there how many coils you want on the spring, and that spring will be custom cut so you get the finished product. And you just enter all the rest of your information in there, your credit card information, and I think the billing that I used was like 6 something for shipping, and came in the mail fairly promptly. So that's how we order the parts. Okay, we now have our springs. As you can see, the new spring is taller. I don't know why, but the new spring, the coils are in a reverse direction. This one's curling up this way and this one's curling up this way. But if I had ordered with 28 coils, it would have been the same exact height. Now this is supposed to be a stronger spring, and I'm guessing we will have enough room to completely compress and cock this spring. So now the next step is, I'd like to pull this out, but I'm going to have to remove this C-clip right here. And I'll drop that right in our drawer there. This pin and spacer will go in the parts drawer. Remove that lever, and now we're ready to remove the piston. This is something that I had just recently done, so this will come out fairly easily. And it feels like our piston has loosened up just a little bit. So now, this is a problem. You see how that moves? That can prevent the gun from cocking if this thing slides up just a little bit too much. So we're going to go out in the garage and fix this. Okay, now that it's loose enough where the top of the piston is lying flat. So I'm going to put this in the vise. And give it a twist. Give it a little more twist. And now that piston head is completely firm. We got no wiggling of the tail, no up and down. That's how you fix a wobbly piston. Okay, our piston has been repaired. Now it's time to replace the seal. This seal is actually in good enough condition where it can be reused. The original piston seal has that came from the factory. It's got 3 chunks on it. Here, I'll show you a close-up of that. And I think here you can see a couple of chunks out that happened during installation at the factory. You can see a couple of chunks missing there. Now it is time to put the new seal on. This is a Vortec 28mm seal. It is impregnated with molybdenum, so it is self-lubricating, should last twice as long as original seal. Put a little silicone oil on it. Make it go on a little easier. There we go. A little silicone oil there. Make sure the lubricated going in. And now we're just going to put a little bit of moly paste right on the end of the piston. It's about the only place where it really makes contact. And you don't want a lot, you just want a very, very thin coat. This stuff is very slick, but it's also kind of toxic, so you really don't want to come in contact with it. Keep it off your fingers. Okay, I tore up my plastic protective guide, so I'm going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. So, start out by easing the seal in. Got a lot of sharp edges here. We have to pass those. All right. And now this is probably one of the worst ones right here. Seal down and in underneath that sharp corner. And we got to pass that. Put this spring guide in here. This is a 13/16 spark plug socket. So push on it without pushing in on the tail. Okay. New one. Spring comes with spring gel. You don't have to use spring gel. RWS also makes a spring cylinder lubricant. You don't need to use a lot, just you know, you're going to have clumps in there, just wipe those clumps out. You just want a very light coating on it. And don't forget your piston sleeve. spring guide. We have our piston in place. Spring is in, spring guide's in. The inner sleeve on the piston is in. Reattach our linkage. We start the pin in. We get it just past start. And slide the spacer in. So the pin goes through it. And now be very careful not to lose your C-clip. C-clip is pressed on, locked in place. As you can see, we did not use very much of the spring gel. And I had already just cleaned out the compression tube and put a light coat of lubricant in there, and just want the very thinnest of coatings, and so that had already been done when I put that replacement seal in. So I knew I could just put the piston in. Now things get a little trickier. I've got to compress the spring some to get it within the bar clamp. This bar clamp's about 2 inches too short. Gotta keep the trigger lined up. Because this bar clamp is too short, I've got to redo this. I'm going to do this off. Well, maybe I can do it just like this. Going off camera for a minute. Because of the extra compression of this new spring, I had put this on the floor and push down with both of my hands. Cranking it in until we see both of our holes line up. Have our holes lined up. We now have both of our pins in. We can release the spring clamp. I really should have used the spring compressor for this job. It's a little more efficient till I get a 2-inch longer bar clamp. We are now ready to put the action back in the stock. So we're going to put the stock upright, and see that pin right there just about popped out. Our pin's centered. And now phone call all the way. We got our rear cap on. Attach the rear mounting screw, which stayed in place. I should also say, when you order these parts from Vortec, they also sell breech seals for the RWS and Rugers for 50 cents each. Good price. You just throw them in there. It doesn't add anything to your shipping, and good to have a couple spares. Proper size Allen wrench. And a little blue thread locker. Got that one started. Another drop of blue thread locker on this one. Tight. A little excess thread locker there I want to get rid of. Now, let's see, first thing we want to do is pull the trigger and make sure the trigger is released, because if the trigger is uptight, it won't cock. It cocks. Press safety in, pull the trigger, release. We are ready to test fire this puppy. Noisy little bugger. These are 8.2 grain RWS Meisterkugelns. Ready to mount a scope on it, do a little target practice, and crony this thing and see how it does. Well, we're all done with this thing. You saw me shoot 3 pellets. I shot another 25 at the target, and seemed to be doing real good, so I shot 7 more pellets, 5 shots per pellet across the chronograph, so had about 65 shots through this thing before I took it outside and did the 20-yard accuracy test. I'm a little disappointed in the final results. I thought we were going to get a little bit more power out of it with what we had available. I This spring is a 28 coil. I ordered a 29 coil. I measured this at 0.14 inch wire width, and Vortec recommended the 128 wire. That's supposed to be standard for this gun. And the only two springs they had in the .825 outside diameter was the 128 wire and a 135 wire. The 128 wire could be cut to the same number of coils you wanted. It did not say that for the 135 wire. That one was already finished off like the ends are on this one. I went with their recommendation with the 128 wire and bumped it up to 29 coils. I'm almost wishing I had ordered one more with 30 coils to see how that one worked. But we did get a bump of about 2 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. Most of the pellets got a lot more consistent, the exception being the RWS Hypermax alloy. We actually increased our extreme spread, actually doubled it, and the H&N Barracuda Hunter, we cut our extreme spread in half, but we lost muzzle energy on that pellet. So it just didn't seem to like those. Of course, the H&M Barracuda Hunter, even though we got reasonable muzzle energy out of it, it had a 45.95 foot per second extreme spread. Settling down, the lowest pellet speed was actually 1 foot per second faster, but the high was way down. But we had a 25.43 foot per second extreme spread. That's over 20 feet per second, more consistent. With the heaviest pellet, the H&M Barracuda, 10.65 grain, we picked up 55 feet per second for the fastest shot. Well over 2 foot-pounds of muzzle energy more there. We got 2.45 foot-pounds of muzzle energy more out of that H&N Barracuda. So, but across the board, it was about a 2 foot-pounds muzzle energy more. The RWS Hobbies, we went from 970.9 feet per second for a high up to 1,019 feet per second for a high. Average of 1,013 feet per second. Cut our extreme spread by 6 feet per second, standard deviation down to 7.61, and over 16 foot-pounds muzzle energy. Predator Polymags, we actually increased our extreme spread by 4 feet per second, but that went from 9 feet per second up to 13.06 for the extreme spread. Not big. The biggest difference was in the JSB Match Exact 8.44 grain. That one we picked, the fastest shot was 886.3 before the tune-up, and that went to 932.2 feet per second for the high shot after the tune-up. And we cut our extreme spread from 16.56 feet per second down to 1.5 feet per second with an with a standard deviation of 0. 16.3 foot-pounds muzzle energy. I did the best target shoot with the H&N Field Target Trophy, 8.64 grain. We had a high of 927.8, extreme spread of 11.17, standard deviation 4.47, and a high muzzle energy of 16.52. That seems to be the best pellet for this gun. The Predator Polymags, I think I could have done better with that. I got 3 pellets almost through one hole, but 2 were way down, and that was just me because the trigger on this thing, I've got to set it a little bit too short of a second stage, and I was pulling the trigger or firing before I was quite ready. I think I could have done better with Predator Polymags, and the JSB Match Exact, same thing, 3 pellets through one hole, and then 2 were way off because I was firing before I was ready. But I did a good job with the H&N Field Target Trophy. So for starters, I'm going to put up all the power numbers before and after. You can look at that, you can pause it, and you can read them. And then after that, we'll go to the outdoor 20-yard accuracy test. Okay, you've seen the power numbers. You see how accurate the gun can be. It's much better than it was before, and I think if I shorten or lengthen that second stage a little bit, I'll get even more accurate. I was shooting from the bench using a shooting bag for rest, and I really enjoyed shooting it. This thing still only has about 30 pounds of cocking effort, so it's very easy to cock. You got this nice grip up here with the silencer up here. We got the lockdown rail. I've upgraded it to the 3 to 9 by 32 millimeter adjustable objective Ruger scope, so you know it's a scope that matches the gun. And this gun has got one of the most beautiful stocks, even though it does not have checkering in here or in the grip area. I just don't think it needs it. It looks so pretty without it. And here, let me show you a close-up of this stock. Okay, it's just a gorgeous gun. It's a good shooting gun. Weighs about 9 pounds, so it's not that bad lugging it out in the field. You know, a little bit, you know, it's definitely heavier than the Gamos and some of the Crossmans, but lighter than the Benjamins and the Hotsons. I love it. Problem is, I'm probably going to end up having to sell it. You know, with everything going on with the cancer treatments, and I'm going to have to make a trip down to North Carolina for my little brother's funeral next month. And so I might have to sell it. I don't know if I will or not. Keep an eye on my Facebook page, and you know, follow me or my Facebook page, my airgun reviews, and I will put it up there if I decide to sell it. But it is just, I love this gun. I like it more than any of the other guns I have right now, even the more powerful Hotsons, because this one is so easy to shoot. You know, like I say, 30 pounds of cocking effort. That's down there with the NP2s, and I know what it's got inside here. I know it's got that high quality vortex spring and that self-lubricating piston, and it's got the silencer, so it's really quiet. It's got the lockdown rail, a good scope, and I just love the gun to death. It's got a great trigger here. You know, it's like I say, right now I think I got the second stage a little short, but that can be adjusted out a little bit. And you know, it's got good fiber optic sights on it, and just love this gun. That is how you tune up a Ruger Airhawk, a Ruger Silent Hawk. I rattled off all the guns that this application will apply to. The Ruger Impact, I did not list that one. It'll also work on the Ruger Impact. It's the same class gun, same piston, same spring, same seal. That's how you tune one of these puppies up. My name is Kenny Cormandy, and thank you for watching.